Today we're going to talk about what happens if an exponent is negative. So we have only done positive exponents and zero so far. Today are negative exponents. So our first sentence here says that today we're going to work with reciprocals. Let's circle that word because that's a big vocab word for the day. So the reciprocal of a number is the number that can be multiplied by the original number to get 1. That's our mathematical definition. I think of it a little bit differently. So it asks me, what is the reciprocal of 2/3? So I'm trying to figure out if I do 2/3 times something, I get 1. Well, I need the 2 and the 3 to both kind of turn into a 1, and the number that's going to work for me for that would be 3 halves, because if I multiply 2/3 times 3 halves, I would get 6 on top and 6 on bottom, and 6 divided by 6 is 1. Now, for the reciprocal of 2, I like to make it a fraction also. So I turn 2 into a fraction, 2/1, and I have to figure out what should I multiply by to get that to equal 1. Well, I kind of want to turn it into something that's going to be 2 on top of 2, because I know 2 divided by 2 is 1. So if I make it a 2 on bottom and a 1 on top, 1/2, when I multiply my fractions, I get 2 on top, 2 on bottom, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. If I look at my reciprocals, what it does follow their definition. When you multiply it by the original number, it turns into 1. But what I noticed is that it's the number I started with flipped upside down. So that's how I remember a reciprocal. So over on the side, I'm going to write that it is a fraction flipped over, because that's the quicker pattern that I notice. So we're going to be using this today with negative exponents. Our next box here is extremely important. It says, send it to its room or the other side of a house, which makes no sense to us right now. But we basically will do a reciprocal. So it says here an A, which could be any number, just that's the base, and an exponent is negative. I just picked A and N random. If I want to leave this simplified, I need to make it a fraction. So I put a 1 underneath of it, and then I need to use the reciprocal. So I'm going to flip this fraction over. So there used to be a 1 on the bottom, now there's a 1 on top. There used to be A with an exponent negative N on the bottom, now there's the base A with an exponent of positive N next to it. So when we do a reciprocal of a negative exponent, it turns that exponent positive, which is good because that's how we want to leave all of our exponent answers, with positive exponents. So this is the goal. I'm going to write that we want positive exponents. There's our goal. So let's think about this in a little bit different way that might help us remember this more. Let me give an example here. Let's say that myself, and my name is Amy, so I'm going to put me as an A, and my favorite number is 2. I'm going to give myself a 2. I'm in my house, and it has 2 levels, an upstairs and a downstairs, so my fraction is going to represent my house, upstairs, downstairs. And I'm upstairs with my sister, and so I'm giving her an S. And she's the 3rd child, so she's going to be a 3. But she is in a bad mood, so I'm making her a -3. And nobody's downstairs. So if I think about fractions, then if nobody's down there, I probably should just put a 1 right there. Nothing's happening down there. So we're both upstairs, but she's in a bad mood. And I really don't want to hang out with her because she's in a bad mood and it's kind of bringing me down a little bit. So I ask her to go downstairs because I need some space. So I stay upstairs, A with the little 2 for my exponent, and then I send her downstairs because she's bumming me out. And when she goes downstairs, she's good to go again, and so her exponent 3 actually turns into a positive. Her bad mood is gone. Her negative attitude has disappeared, and she's in a good mood. Turns out it was me all along. I guess I was making her grumpy. But when she got away from me, when she moved to the other part of the house, she turned positive again. Her attitude changed. So when I move that negative exponent to the other part of the house, the other part of the fraction, everything gets better. Let's look at a different example. Let's say that my mom is upstairs and she can be number 1 because moms are the best. She is making dinner for us maybe, and I'll be downstairs hanging out, and I'm just, I don't know, watching TV or something. My sister is upstairs bothering my mom about what's for dinner. I'm picking on my sister a lot today. So she's in a bad mood because she doesn't like what my mom's making for dinner. She's being picky and complaining, and my mom is not having it. So my mom sends my sister downstairs to get rid of her because she is working. I'm downstairs, and then she comes downstairs too. And oh look, the TV's on downstairs. So she's happy again because I'm watching Gilmore Girls, and she joins right in and she loves that show. So when she moved downstairs, she was good to go again. No, it doesn't matter that I was there this time. She just got moved to the other part of the house, and then she was happy. Something good happened. Let's do one more example. Let's say that she is, well, let's put the whole family in here. So we got my mom. She can be upstairs making dinner. We've got my dad. He can be downstairs. Maybe he's, I don't know, exercising or something. We'll put the -4 by him. And my sister's downstairs, and she's watching Gilmore Girls again, so she's happy. I came upstairs to help my mom set the table. So everybody's in a good mood except for my dad. He's in a bad mood because he's downstairs exercising, and my sister's watching Gilmore Girls, and it's really distracting, not to mention he doesn't really like that show. So my mom says that it's time for dinner. So she says, everybody come upstairs. So me and my mom are already upstairs, so we stay right there. My dad comes upstairs because he's done, well, he has to come upstairs. It's time to eat dinner. And he turns positive because he moved to the other side of the house, and he came upstairs, and now it's dinner time. Who doesn't like dinner? So he is happy about it. Well, my sister comes upstairs, and she was happy where she was, and then we made her move. So now she's mad. She's mad that she doesn't get to finish Gilmore Girls, and she has to eat dinner instead. And I don't know, she's just interesting like that. I would like to eat dinner. But when she moved to the other side of the house, her attitude changed. So did my dad's. My dad's changed and it got better. Hers changed and it got worse. So anytime you move exponents to the other part of the fraction, the other side of the house, their attitude is going to change. There's nobody downstairs anymore. So just for the sake of mathematical correctness, I'm going to put a 1 down there. Anytime part of our house doesn't have anything in it, we'll just put a 1 in that part of the house. So hopefully some of these examples can help us when we work on the ones on our notes. On our notes, we have 5 to the -3. It is in a bad move and needs to move around. So I need to make this into a house so I can move it to the other part of the house. So I make it a fraction and put a 1 underneath. And then I have to move this. It was upstairs and in a bad mood, so if I move it downstairs, it will be in a good mood, 5 to the 3. And then there's nothing on top, so I put a 1. Now I'm looking at the next one. It's already a house, and it's downstairs, and it's in a bad mood. So I need to move it upstairs, and then it will be in a good mood. There's nothing downstairs anymore, so I will put a 1. Now we know that if there's a 1 on the bottom of the fraction, it's the same as if it was without. So you could give me either one of these and be mathematically correct. Let's look at our third one. There are two ways to do the third one. I would probably simplify this the way that we already know how. So when it looks like this, we are supposed to subtract exponents. So I would do 4, and I need to do 6 minus negative 2. Now there's where it gets tricky because you have minus a negative. That turns into addition, and we can double check that with our calculator. So 4 to the 6 plus 2, which then my answer would be 8, and then I'm done. So I simplified it like we already practiced, and I didn't even actually have to move anything to the other side of the house. Let me try that again on our next one. I should simplify the top, so I should do 8 plus negative 5 is our shortcut there, and that would give me 3 to the 3 on top, and I have 3 to the second on the bottom. Well, now, like we just did, our shortcut is to subtract, so 3 minus 2 leaves me with 3 to the 1, and there's my answer. On the last one on the left, I'm supposed to multiply exponents, so I get 2 to the negative 6, negative 3 times 2, but I can't leave my answer like that. I have to rearrange it. So I need to make it a house, so I make them have a basement. And now I need to move that bad attitude from upstairs to downstairs. So I move it downstairs, and there is a positive 6 now, and there's nothing upstairs anymore, so I just put a 1. There is my answer. Last one. This one's one that's getting a little bit harder because I see two different base numbers, a 3 and a 4, and neither of them have an exponent. So I need to give them both a 1. Then I can multiply my negative 2 by both of the 1s. So I would get 3 to the negative 2 on top, 4 to the negative 2 on bottom. So these are both in bad moods. So to make them be positive, I need to have the bad attitude upstairs go downstairs, and it will now be in a good mood. And the bad attitude downstairs with the 4 needs to come upstairs, so it's in a good mood. And everybody is positive, everybody's happy, and we can be done with that problem. So please write your summary on these and let me know what questions you are having.